Hello and welcome to week 2. I'm making another video here at my office today, so hopefully this will upload a little bit easier than it does from my house. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your essay. Essays can be so intimidating, so just as a reminder, at this point you've already turned in your rough draft, and rough drafts are graded on participation. So if you turned it in, you got the points. So that's a bonus. Not turning it in puts a 0 in a part of your grade that's worth 10% of your overall grade, and everything in that 10% is graded on participation. So just make sure you got that in. Get it in on time if possible if you're watching this early, and then I can give you feedback with those little blue dots attached to tell you how to improve your essay. So that's the reason why it's graded on participation. I want to be able to give you pointers on how to improve. So I want to just talk about your essay a little bit. So let's think about essay structure. The most important thing is to have a thesis that runs through your entire paper. The thesis is like the backbone of your paper. It should run all the way through the entire paper. Every paragraph should be focused on proving your thesis. So the thesis is the main idea of every paragraph. Every paragraph is proving that thesis. The thesis should be clearly visible as the last sentence of your first paragraph. So your first paragraph is like an upside down triangle. It starts out broad, introducing your topic, and then it's going to narrow into your thesis, the last sentence being the main idea. So your introduction should tell me the titles and authors of the two works that you're comparing, and your thesis should make it clear how that comparison is being made. You should not have to use the words I or we, our, us, me, at all in your essay. It's not coming from a first person point of view. It's supposed to be a non-biased kind of stepped back essay where you're making a comparison, maybe comparing how details were used in two of the given stories, or how whether one was a better narrative than the other, and why. Things like that. So you want to think of your thesis as an answer to a question. So think about what question do you want to answer. Do you really like how the language was written? Do you really like the details? Because then you might want to answer the question something like, which essay has better use of details? Which has a clearer main idea? Which author more successfully supported his or her main idea with details? Think about questions like that. Which one had a clearer purpose? So you want to think about which angle you want to take from it. And maybe even which one is more effective with the main idea. So think about which angle you want to take, and then answer with one of those questions in your thesis. You're going to need 2 sources from the Santa Fe Library. Having a clear thesis and the required sources from the library is going to be where you get a lot of your points. If you look over the essay rubric, those 2 things really contribute heavily to category 2 in the rubric, which is worth about half of your paper. So not having sources and not having a thesis can really hit your grade hard. Again, that's not the case in the rough draft. That's where I get to tell you things like you don't have a clear thesis or you're missing your sources. But in your final paper, it will definitely hurt your grades. So you want to make sure that you do that. Remember that the Santa Fe Library has a wonderful online catalog, so you don't even need to go in. You can be on the other side of the world and you can complete this with research at the Santa Fe Library. So you don't have to be here in person. If you are here in person, great. Go on into the library. You can ask for help. They're under construction, but they will be very helpful. So that is an option. But if you're not in person, this can be completed very successfully. There is a little video and resources on how to find a source in the Santa Fe Library. It's very short, just a little screenshot video I did of me getting to the catalog. Basically, you're going to go to Santa Fe's main website, sfcollege.edu. If you scroll down, there's a little icon that says library. It looks like 3 little white columns on it. You're going to click on that, and then you can search the catalog of the library. You can search anything you're looking for. So you could look up a source on, let's just say you chose Zora Neale Hurston's short story Sweat. You could look up a source on Sweat. You could look up a source on one of the Hemingway short stories. Look for an article in one of the databases. JSTOR is a great one to use. If you click on databases in the Santa Fe Library website, you could head over to JSTOR. It's got a lot of great articles on literary works, so you could find something on Faulkner's The Bear, and Hemingway's one of his stories from Men Without Women. You could make a comparison using information from those articles. What you want to do is show that you've done some research to show that other people have been talking about this. Look at it like there's a conversation going on these works already, and you're now joining that conversation. So you're going to find where that conversation is going on, What are people saying about these works? Do you agree or disagree? Bring that into your essay. So you want to be able to successfully work those quotes into your essay. And notice that I put in a lot of links to mostly the Harvard Writing Center. Make sure that you look over those and see how to successfully write a thesis and how to work this information in. So, and if you have any questions, do reach out to me. I am available through email. I will be in Abu Dhabi for a lot of next week, but I'll have internet because they have internet in Abu Dhabi, so I'll be there checking email every day, multiple times a day most likely, and I will be able to communicate with you to help you with whatever issue that you may be having. Don't feel bad questioning. It's my job to answer questions. Where if we were in person, we'd be having this conversation and you'd be able to ask questions. Since we're online, you're just going to have to email me. So feel free to email with any questions that you have. So for your reading this week, you'll be in the Pocket Reader. You'll be using the list on page 90, which lists the 4 guidelines for having successfully written a comparison and contrast. So this will be helpful for you too, because you are comparing and contrasting your chosen stories from the directions of the comparison essay. So number 1 is identify an appropriate topic. You want to see for the discussion board for week 2 and also for the essays you're comparing. Have the identified an appropriate topic. Now, you're writing your own comparison, so are you choosing an appropriate topic? Have you? Is this something you can compare? You want to make sure it has a strong thesis. That's point 2. So in the discussion board, you're looking at, do my chosen works have an appropriate topic, strong thesis? Has the comparison been narrowed to the points that support your thesis? It's always important as an author that you're only using material that's helpful for your main idea, for your thesis. There's no sense kind of going off into left field with a paragraph that doesn't actually support your thesis. So this is kind of a twofold thing. We want to look at your own essay. Do all of your body paragraphs support your thesis? And also for the discussion board, when you're comparing 2 different short stories, make sure that all of their paragraphs are helpful. Not everything in the Pocket Reader, not everything I'm assigning you this semester is well written. Look and see. If you see a fault, be willing to say so. There aren't points added because you agree with me, and there aren't points added because you thought the thing was well written. You might find something that wasn't, and in fact, in the discussion board, I've seen a student already willing to say, I don't get this one. It's not written in a way that connects with me. That's okay to do. Just be willing to say why, especially if you can do so using these points. The 4th point is select the organization that best fits your topic. So when you're writing your essay, think about organization and how to best organize your main idea. And when you're analyzing these things for the discussion board, make sure you're considering whether or not they've organized. Sometimes authors will put information towards the end that kind of takes the topic to the left. And was that well done? Was it unclear? Should the order have been done differently? Those are things for you to think about. So you've been assigned pages 90 through 130 for the Pocket Reader for week 2, but if you read the directions carefully, you'll see you actually only have to choose 2 stories from that 90 to page 130. So make sure that you look carefully over and see which ones you like. I think my personal favorite is actually Mark Twain's, but I find that not all students like that one, so you might want to look that over and see that might not be a good one for you. A lot of people also like Neat People versus Sloppy People. It's a pretty humorous little piece. So look over 90 through 130, pick your 2, get your discussion board done, do your week 2 Thoreau. I will be getting your rough drafts back to you as soon as possible, hopefully before I leave for Abu Dhabi on Tuesday. That way you can go through and you can look at the annotations I put on and make your adjustments in your rough draft and then resubmit it by Sunday, next Sunday, or Sunday, what is the date? The Sunday of week 2. I'm looking up the date here so I don't get this wrong. So it'll be Sunday, May 26th. It needs to be in by midnight. So if you have any questions, send me an email.